in Malaysia, given the choice between China and America, they'll choose China. Sri Lanka built a port that they didn't need. They built an airport they didn't need. They still aren't using it. They defaulted on a loan.
Right.
It was not supposed to be China's port, or China was not supposed to take over the port. Superpowers want you to choose, right? When you're so dependent on one single power, that's a leash. They don't really have a lot of choice. Singapore does a really good job of managing both sides. To be able to con that many people consistently, you must know your wine. I think they should really work on keeping ASEAN together. China's an absolute angel if you were to compare foreign policies.
But that's a debt trap. I mean, America did that for decades in Africa and
in different ways, right? These guys, the only difference is these guys are doing it without killing people. Back when I was in the timber business, you'd always hear, timber supply shortage.
Right.
And they'll say very difficult rainy season.
Right.
And it's perpetually rainy season.
You're like, when?
Curiosity is the key to the imagination.
My girlfriend podcast, let's do this.
Dream the impossible dream.
Welcome to Mike Helfman's Curiosity Podcast.
I finally got my old friend, Abbi Kanthasamy in. And I'm so glad for coming, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
He's a entrepreneur, restaurateur, writer, photographer. Been in KL for, dog years before I got here, and I've been here a long time.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been here?
98.
98.
98.
Been here since the 20th century.
That's it. I was here for the Millennium Party, and 98. Just before the Commonwealth Games.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. So it's been 27 years, and originally from Sri Lanka via Canada, right?
The U.S.
Oh, the U.S.?
The U.S., yeah. Grew up in the U.S., and then we ended up in Canada before I graduated and got a job, and they sent me to Malaysia.
Right. Got a job or started a company?
No, got a job.
Okay.
I came here with a job. I was working for a company based in Northern California, Lifestyle Solutions, and they sent me here in 98.
For the manufacturing side of
That's
things?
right.
And that was at the furniture company?
It was a furniture company, and they wanted to go upstream. So I was part of the team that set up the sourcing office, set up quality systems, purchasing, and we did purchasing globally, managed it from KL.
Okay. So how did you become, because you were originally an entrepreneur. When I say that, you were a partner in a business from the U.S., but you were working out of here, right? Is this Quality Solutions or was this another company?
Lifestyle Solutions.
Lifestyle.
This was a company that I came working for when I first came. And, I'm an engineer by profession, so they hired me. It was a technical job, manufacturing. We ended up buying a factory, running it, outsourcing production from all over Asia to Brazil.
Okay.
So it was managing manufacturing, basically.
Right. And then how did you end up becoming an entrepreneur?
I left in 2013. And 2014, I started my own company, Domus, based out of Canada. And Domus eventually became a licensee for Sealy for North America.
Right.
And I started the restaurant sort of parallelly while I was still working at Lifestyle Solutions. I invested in Aliyah, my first restaurant.
Yeah.
That was back in 2007.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know, but you have a restaurant company for some of the best restaurants in KL. I visit them all the time. I love them.
Thanks,
okay?
man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Aliyah being one of them.
We're amongst the best. There are many great restaurants.
I had a friend who tried to get a reservation to Bocado a couple weeks ago, and they couldn't. I said, okay. They asked me. I was
Should have said you knew a guy.
And I love the, I really love the Peruvian place in Avenue K. Feliz. I love Feliz.
That's one of our latest ones.
Yeah, really good. Really good. Been there like 3 or 4 times.
Chef Franco was really good from Peru. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
festive place.
Festive place. Thanks for coming, man. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for having me. Thanks for this smoke and nice malt.
So, I mean, we'll get into the entrepreneur stuff a little deeper, but you're also like a really creative guy. I mean, I've known you for almost as long as I've known my wife. And some of your photography is pretty, impressive, and it dons the walls of a lot of your restaurants, doesn't it?
It does. Thanks. It's something I always love doing. just it's a lot more affordable, especially when I got a little older and started making some money.
Yeah.
I loved it equally when I was a kid, but it was very expensive. Film wasn't cheap, and gear was expensive. But yeah, I've got my dream set up now, and I just find it hard to find the time. But yeah, whenever I get a chance, I get out there and give myself an assignment and shoot.
I loved the series that you did on Cuba.
Oh,
right?
thanks. I've been doing that for quite some time. So there's an article that I did for Harper's Bazaar, I think in 2007 or 2007, I think.
Okay.
It was on Cuba for a Bazaar Man, and that's it's got a bunch of photographs. So first one published.
Is that the one that like set you off with Cuba? I mean, you have that one with that woman with the
Big cigar.
enormous cigar.
That's sort of a cliche, but that type of shot. But because there's these cigar ladies all over. But I found this lady, she was reading palms, and the cigar was a prop.
Oh, okay.
And then I made her walk about a block and a half to this wall, this bright yellow wall. That just made the picture.
It made her pop.
It made her pop. Yeah. So that was shot on a Hasselblad. But I've been going there a lot.
Have you?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of only went once since COVID, but before that, 2-3 times a year. Because, our Domus head office is in Toronto. And there's a direct flight to Havana.
Oh, nice.
2.5 hours.
So when you go there, what's it like? I mean, I've never been to Cuba. It's always been on the list. I mean, I know they've got these cars from the 50s everywhere, right? Is it really that prevalent?
Oh, yeah. First time I went, I had a friend that's quite connected in Cuba, and he made some special arrangements, and they had somebody from the government pick me up, and they picked me up in this BMW 5 Series.
A new one.
And I thought they were being a little, that's good. It's a little, not too flashy, But then I realized it was the only BMW that I've seen from the airport to the hotel. It was, the old cars are a thing. I mean, they're used as transport. They're not just props for tourists or anything.
Right.
They're
That's
used
wild.
daily. These 1950s, 60s. You see all these my favorites are these Chevy Suburbans.
From the 60s?
Yeah.
It's a miracle that they, I mean, I guess that's a testament to the manufacturing of that era, how those cars could last so long and how they maintain the parts.
It is a testament, not only that, but more so to the resilience of the Cubans and how innovative they are and how much grit they have. I mean, car will break down, driver will get off and tinker around, and 10 minutes later it started again, and off you go. You will often see like Toyota parts inside.
Oh yeah.
Of Buick, and
okay.
They just make things work.
Right.
Right.
I guess you have to when you're in that situation. Innovation because of lack of resources.
The only bad thing is they're gas guzzlers.
Right.
Nobody cared about consumption back in those days, and they're 4 or 5 liter V6s and V8s. And
does Cuba have oil? Like, do they have access to gas? Is the gas cheap there?
They do. It's subsidized, so it doesn't cost much. I mean, it's a communist country, so pretty much everything's on a ration.
But from what I understand, the people are also extremely educated. Like, they may be poor, but they're all very highly educated.
Extremely. Their medical field is phenomenal.
Right.
You remember the president of
Venezuela.
Venezuela went there to get his heart surgery done.
Hugo Chavez.
Chavez.
I do remember.
Yeah, their cardiology is supposed to be really good. Ballet schools. It's really strange. They are very poor, but they more than get by, and it's not their focus. They celebrate their culture, their music. I mean, as weird as it is, everybody thinks everyone's walking around smoking a cigar there. It's actually not a huge thing in Cuba to smoke cigars.
Okay, so from the culture that you're kind of describing, it's almost as if they have different values than a capitalist society, right? So have they really attuned and accepted communism as their form of government, or do they want more? do they want to have those luxuries?
I think it's absolutely human to want more. So I was there during a time when they had just made it legal for people to buy their own homes and sell their homes. Because before it was all, everything belonged to the government, and you're literally given the rights to use a home.
Wow.
So they're slowly changing, and I think that people do want to, they want change. There's a reason why, I'm not sure if you knew, but they're not allowed to go into the ocean.
I did not know that. They're not allowed to go. Why?
No, because they'll just
Swim to
a couple
Florida?
of strokes, they're in Miami,
Right.
and they don't come back. So it's because, that's the main reason. They don't want people leaving, and the fishermen are given special permits. So you can't be, getting on a boat and heading out is just not allowed.
Wow.
They've
What
got a
about
very
swimming? They can
weird-
swim, right?
It's a tough swim from Havana to Miami.
Yeah, so they can go to the beach and enjoy a
They can
leisure
go to
time.
the beach and enjoy the
Just
beach.
on a boat. They can't go in the ocean in a boat.
Just can't be traveling.
Wow.
Yeah, and fishing is really restricted.
That's tough when you live on, an island. And fishing for most communities like that is one of the larger parts of their economy.
It is. They're allowed to fish, with permits, and it's controlled.
Right.
But they closely monitor, what happens in the water.
Wow. And has it really passed down? So, Fidel was in charge for years, then his brother, and his brother is still in charge. Is that right? Raul.
Yeah.
And is there a succession? Do you know? I know you're not a Cuban
I'm a little,
expert, but
little
is
bit,
there like a
little bit out of
succession
touch
plan?
right now with what's going on there.
Right. I'm just curious because I never got a chance to talk to somebody who's been to Cuba so many
Okay.
times.
Well, it's the politics is not changing, so it's not something that really interested me there much, because it was just if you go to the U.S., as elections coming, there's discussion about who's going to win, what the swing states are doing. There's no such thing there.
Right.
There aren't any elections.
There's no political
There's
talk.
nothing. There's no political talk. It's kind of like China. There's very little political talk.
Interesting. All right, we went off topic a little bit. So, can we go back to your career, your entrepreneur, your timeline of coming to Malaysia, right? So you went to the university in the States.
In Canada.
You went to university in Canada.
Yeah, I did.
Which?
Went to McGill in Montreal.
Right, McGill, which is one of the top schools in Canada, from what I remember.
Supposedly.
Right. And then you got your job, and with the company out of Northern California, and you came to Malaysia to head up there, basically create all their manufacturing processes and run the factory. And then you started Domus. What year did you start the restaurant business?
Aliyah was opened in 2007.
07, right. And when we met, you had, was it Aliyah in Damansar Heights?
That's it, in the bungalow.
In the bungalow? Yeah, that was the first iteration of it,
That's right.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, not only that, you're also a purveyor, I would say, in my mind, of fine whiskeys and cigars, and you've introduced me to some of my favorite whiskey, as a matter of fact, which is Glenfarclas.
Oh, Glenfarclas.
I think it was Glenfarclas 21, if I'm not mistaken,
Right.
and you described it in a way that I'll never forget. You said it's Christmas in a cup.
Yeah,
And
it's a Christmas cake. In a
yeah,
glass.
a Christmas cake in a glass, and I
Yeah,
said
it is.
that is
It
just
is.
amazing.
That
And I've
is-
loved it ever since. I mean, I had it at my wedding.
Yeah, it's a lovely. It reminds you of Christmas.
It does, and now it reminds me of my wedding as well.
Good.
So, how many restaurants you guys have now?
Cinnamon Group's got 26.
26 restaurants, all in KL, or are there some
One in
outside of
Penang,
KL?
2 on Redang Island.
That's at Taras.
Yeah, the rest are scattered around Klang Valley. We had one in the U.S. that closed down during COVID.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Where?
It's Santa Clara.
Oh. Was it a Sri Lankan
the
restaurant?
Bay Area. It started off being one, and then our partners there kind of changed the concept, based on demand signals. This is when that movie Crazy Rich Asians came about,
Yeah.
and they wanted it to be Singaporean, which we violently objected, but they put in most of the money, so they got their way. But it was called Malaya. So I won a little bit. I want to go all the way. It was Malaya, Malaysian and Singaporean cuisine, right next to the 49ers Stadium in Santa Clara.
Oh, okay. That's something I've talked about on the podcast before, that Singapore has essentially co-opted Malaysian food culture and taken it for themselves. And they've done it because they have a better branding strategy than Malaysia, unfortunately. And because I don't think Singaporean food is, I mean, it's essentially Malaysian food. It's Malaysian food. And Malaysian food tastes better than Singaporean food. It's got a little bit of that grit, you know, it's got that love put into it.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't see the point in trying to distinguish them. You know,
They're both from the Malay Peninsula.
they are. I mean, it was just a few years ago.
Right.
I think what year did Singapore get
60s,
independence?
67
Yeah,
maybe?
something like that.
What do you got there, Fahad? Singapore independence from Malaysia. Maybe 60, what?
1965.
65, 8 years after, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
2 years later.
So, yeah, I don't see the point in differentiating them.
Yeah, the only differentiate is that the Singapore government controls the type of oil that you can fry in, and they make it's healthier though. It's essentially a healthier version in some of these hawker stalls now, which I don't think is a bad thing necessarily. You know, they regulate the amount of sugar that you can put in soft drinks.
Salt.
Right? Salt, right?
That's a new thing. I just realized that a couple of weeks ago, we went to Sentosa to see the monster trucks.
Uh-huh.
With my kid. And we were in Din Tai Fung.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was just sort of tasteless. You know, extremely reduced salt
Uh-huh.
and
Wow.
MSG. And, you know, I picked it up right away. And sure enough, we asked someone and they said they've consciously reduced salt.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's good to an extent, but when it starts getting pervasively into your flavor profile, I'd say it's a little bit different.
Yeah. I mean, there's always a compromise between health and taste. And
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
I mean, well, some of the restaurants you deal in, you know, like Aliyah, for example, I mean, the flavors there, the flavor profile there is ridiculous and spicy too, because it's Sri Lankan, right? So there's a lot of spice in the food.
Ali is, you know, unapologetically Sri Lankan, authentic, very close to home recipes. You know, most of the recipes there are from my mom, who comes, you know, at least once a year, and she kind of recalibrates where things are. So we do a lot of our spices, powders in-house.
Yeah.
So we bring in raw ingredients. We bring in pure cinnamon from Sri Lanka, for example, and chilies, and you know, all other spices, and we grind it, roast it here, in-house, and nothing's kept for more than 2-3 days. So that's why it's demonstrable.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Aliyah Foods, you know, it just has just a little bit more aroma, and you know, it's raw, close to origins.
Yeah, the best Sri Lankan food in KL, as far as I'm concerned.
You know, best compliment
Next to your house.
Best compliment we got was actually from the Minister of Tourism from Sri Lanka, and they asked us to open a restaurant in Colombo. And the guy said this is the best Sri Lankan food he's ever had. I don't know if he was trying to be nice, but I like to think that was true.
It doesn't get any better
But he
than
seriously offered us a spot in the Dutch hospital in Colombo to open back in the day. We weren't thinking of doing that.
that. Right. Wow. Yeah, Colombo is it's an interesting city, you know. Right on the water. It's old. It still has a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
It's still, I mean, when I was there, it was a long time ago, but there was still devastation from the tsunami. Like along the beach side, you could see some of the
Absolutely.
structures were still destroyed.
And remember, Colombo actually faces away from where the tsunami came from. So
Right.
all that damage that you see on our eastern coast, you know, southeast,
Yeah, that's where I saw it, like near
that's
Galway.
basically backwash.
Yeah.
So that wasn't even the tsunami's impact. That was the backwash from the tsunami. Tsunami came from Sumatra, right?
Yeah, south.
Yeah, southeast. So on the west coast, on the west coast of Sri Lanka, you know, it didn't get the brunt
Right.
If you had gone to the east, that's where it got really hammered.
Yeah, that's where I saw it. Like Marissa, I think.
But that's the southern tip. So it kind of starts there,
Yeah.
and all the way up north. And back then, some of these parts were controlled by the Tamil Tigers. So
Right.
you never even knew about it, but there was devastation.
Crazy. Yeah, and that just goes to show you how powerful the tsunami is, that it could
Yeah.
travel so far, so fast, and do that kind of damage.
Right.
You know,
The water had gone a few kilometers inland, parts of the east coast.
devastating. Devastating. So you've got the restaurant. What gave you the idea to open up a Peruvian place? Just because there isn't any Peruvian places here? I was so happy when you opened Feliz.
Thanks. Well, there's another place that's open. I heard it's really good. At Banyan Tree.
Yeah, I heard about it. I haven't been. I heard about it, but I haven't been. I've been loyal. I've been loyal to Feliz.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No, I have. I brought several people there. You know.
It's good to have competition. It keeps you honest, keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
You don't get relaxed.
I
It's
agree.
always good to have competition. When we opened Aliyah, we're the only Sri Lankan restaurant in town. But we've inspired many to do something similar.
Yeah, that's great.
But it keeps us on our toes. I keep telling our guys, got to keep reinventing yourself. Keep lifting the bar.
Exactly.
We just subtly, do things. I mean, some things you don't want changed, but we do need to have constant improvement.
Yeah. No, you guys have stood the test of time.
And we have. It's I think third year in a row we've got a Michelin bib,
Nice.
which is first Sri Lankan restaurant anywhere to get a Michelin award.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where is Bocado actually?
Bocado is tucked away. It's where the ECM Libra building is.
Yeah. In Damsar Heights.
Damansara Heights.
Yeah.
So it's an office building. We're on the ground floor.
It used to be another space, right? Was there another restaurant that used to be there
It
previously?
used to be a restaurant called Pietro.
Pietro's.
we took that
right.
over.
Okay. Yes. Jalan Kamuda or something, right? Is that the name of the road?
Sincerely can't remember the name of
I
the
know the road, right near the LRT
Cavalry
station.
Church is right down there, and there's an LRT station.
Near the LRT
Yeah.
station, right? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's doing really well. We've got a Galician chef, Victor, that runs the place. Very young guy, energetic, incredible, passionate.
So you've come up with that. That's the really cool thing about Cinnamon Group, right? Like when I had Mikey's, I had one brand, and I tried, and I essentially just grew that brand on and on. Whereas you have one concept for one location, and then you have another concept for another location. So you essentially have, 26 different restaurants, 26 different concepts.
Yeah, two of them are
Are the same,
are the same.
right? But for the most part, each place is different from the other.
Like Nero Nero serves Southern Italian food
Right.
from Puglia. Natalina's is more of a Milanese style Italian place. Mm-hmm. The chef Stefano is from Milan. So yeah, we try to be a little bit above the market that does the same thing in different places. So give unique dining experiences and just slightly above that medium sort of.
So I brought my kids to Natalina last week. My son loved lasagna. He was
great.
like, Dad,
Nice.
So when we got home, he's like, Dad, can we order Natalina for dinner like the next day?
What is it?
He loved the lasagna.
It's
Very unique lasagna, but very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I mean,
yeah.
So,
Thanks.
so
And Frank's bar behind it.
yeah, I love Frank's. Super cool. So I usually go there after I go to Feliz. I go to Feliz, have dinner, then I go down to Frank's. But that being said, right, for the man who's started 27 restaurants around KL, right? What would you say to somebody who wanted to get into the restaurant business in Malaysia? What advice would you give them? Do you have any advice? Is there anything that you've learned along the way that you could pass on?
Sure. I mean, make sure that you're really passionate about it, and you've got to understand the numbers and be honest to yourself about them, because it's a business that can really catch up quickly, catch you off guard, because it's a positive cash flow business where your suppliers give you terms, and your customers are paying you cash. So if you could delay your payment for 90 days, you start building some cash in your till, and it's dangerous when you start believing that it's yours So it can give you some false sense of securities, when you see money in your till. But understanding it, you gotta just be humble, patient. And it's a learning experience. I mean, after, we've been in for almost 20 years, and you learn every day.
Yeah.
Every single day, there's something.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had I had Darren Teo on here, Michelin star chef from
Great guy. Yeah.
yeah,
Very talented.
very talented. I love it. Do you still have a stake in Nadodi?
Yes, we do.
To me, when Nadodi opened up, it was the most unique restaurant experience I'd ever been to in terms of being able to have Indian flavors in a fine dining, creative, molecular setting. And not just the dishes, the cocktails were incredible. I remember I ordered a Bloody Mary cocktail, and it was like some sort of infused tomato juice with white jelly balls that you get in a bubble tea that were filled with vodka. That was amazing, and you ate it with a straw.
Right.
I mean, you ate it with a spoon. Excuse me. Yeah, it was. I never had anything like
When's
that.
the last time you've been?
Not that long ago. I was at the new location in the Four Seasons recently.
Right.
I thought the fit out was beautiful.
Thank you.
I think that was maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we moved into the Four Seasons a couple of years ago, and it's been really good. The interior is,
Really nice interior.
probably one of our best designed restaurants.
Yeah. I mean, you could be in New York or Singapore or London or anywhere. I mean, and you've got the park right there. It's really nice.
Thanks. That's our flagship restaurant. Yeah, we've. It's interesting how we got there. We essentially wanted a fine dining version of Aliyah.
Okay.
That's how the whole thing started, and then we ended up with Nadori, which took a few turns and detours here and there, and it sort of has become its own thing. So the cuisine in Nadori is not just Indian. It's from South India,
Right.
Kerala, and Sri Lanka. So the base is from these countries, and then we demolish, destroy, and then reconstruct the foods to have authentic flavors, but just kind of play with the essences with plating on textures.
Yeah, I mean, when I went there, I'm like, if this restaurant was in New York, because when you opened, Michelin wasn't in Malaysia at the time.
Right.
And I remember thinking, if this restaurant was in New York, it'd be like 2-3 stars. Like, it'd be like a 2-star restaurant. It was so unbelievable. And now that they're here, I think they need to take a look.
Well, they've put us on their select list, so we're on the guide. They got their own criteria.
Yeah, I know. Some people disparage them nowadays. Like, it's not what it used to be.
We're happy that we're in the radar. We're not ignored completely. We're Michelin. They've got a grouping called Michelin Select, which means
Right.
that you're in the running. Aliyah got a bib, which is in the affordable category. Where,
Oh, is that what it is?
yeah.
Okay.
The bib's an award for restaurants that can't quite make it to they're not ultra fine dining. That we're very proud of. We got the bib for Aliyah. Nadori's a Michelin Select restaurant.
Okay.
The chef just won a knife in the International Chef Awards.
That's coveted.
Yeah.
That's quite coveted.
Yeah, Yavin just won one, which is the first time.
Oh,
I think he'll keep getting more. I
congratulations.
think the guy's a 3-knife chef.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thank you.
All right, so you've got the restaurant business. You started out in the furniture business, but you still have your own furniture business too, don't you?
Yeah.
So you're wearing multiple hats. And look, like I said, you're a creative guy, right? So I think, some of the designs that I've seen, you design them yourself in the furniture business, or do you do it with a team?
I do with a team.
Okay.
My specialty used to be, we did a lot of motion furniture, things that convert.
Right.
So, around coming up with, patents or getting around somebody's patents is usually what a patent really is.
Right.
You can't reinvent a chair anymore or a recliner, just try to do something that somebody has a patent. I don't know how you pronounce it, but
I say patent. But
patent, yeah.
Patent, paint,
So
tomato.
we try to get around patents and create our own. And not so much in aesthetics, but the nuts and bolts and the moving bits. But my category in furniture is not, we're not a design house. We're not high end. We're entry level to medium. So we follow trends.
Okay.
So that's kind of like what, Gap would do in clothing. Mm-hmm. You look at what Armani's doing, what Hugo Boss is doing, and you try and do it for 1/10 the price, right? And that's.
Are you still manufacturing in Malaysia, or are you manufacturing in China?
We do. So we've got manufacturing in Malaysia, China, Cambodia, Vietnam. Less and less China because of the tariff
Right.
issues. Had a horrible 25. Like this year, we're just not doing that great.
Because of Trump's
Yeah.
tariffs?
Yeah, the tariffs are. The tariffs really hurt us this year. Well, the lack of clarity.
Right.
It's very important to clarify that it's not the tariffs themselves. Mm-hmm. So finally, he's announced the tariff on my category, which is upholstery.
Okay.
We know what it is now, but can you imagine for 10 months, nobody knew the number. Nobody knew what it was. Is it
Walking on
5%,
eggshells.
10%, 20%, 30%, 100, 200? Nobody knew. So he finally said 30. Mm-hmm. So at least we have some clarity and we could, go about business again. So it's been a really horrible 10 months.
That's really interesting though, that you've spread your manufacturing across several different regions, right? Really across ASEAN and Asia.
Yeah. And we're ready to go. We could pull the trigger on getting stuff manufactured in Mexico, Turkey, and some parts of Eastern Europe. I'm just holding back on it because I don't want to do a knee-jerk reaction, go invest time, money on outsourcing from these countries, and then his whole tariff thing reverses. There's no point. But at 30%, it makes no sense to go anywhere else anyway. No one's competing with Vietnam and Cambodia and Malaysia with 30%.
That just goes to show you how big of a margin they had prior to the tariffs.
Who the American consumers? Well, the prices are going to go up. I mean, the consumer is going to pay for it.
I mean, I've spoken to a couple of financial analysts that think we haven't even seen the effects of the tariffs yet because of the stocks that were held in anticipation of the tariffs, and that the American consumer is really going to start to see it end of fourth quarter, beginning of first quarter 2026, real spike in prices.
Yeah, because what's happened was that is the case for many categories, but furniture takes up a lot of space.
Right.
So you can't just indefinitely have
warehouse
stock, right? You can't just warehouse. This is a single-seater sofa. This is very American. I don't know where you got this, but
I got this in Malaysia.
Oh, did you?
Built in clay.
Okay, but this is made this is U.S. specs.
Yeah.
Because this is way too big for a single-seater
in Asia, right? Asia. Yeah.
So imagine a single-seater, two-seater, three-seater set of this. That's taking up quite a lot of space.
Right. How many of these can you fit in a container?
How many sets can you? You could probably put sets like single-seater, two-seater, three-seater. That makes a set.
I had 1, 2, and then the 3-seater in the living room.
So or 2 of these in a 3-seater. You could probably put 30 sets.
Right. That's not a huge. It's not like an iPhone.
No.
Right. Where you could have 30,000.
So it's hard to keep a lot of stock. This business, the warehouses are containers and trucks. Mm-hmm. They should not be actual warehouses.
Right.
That's the trick of this business. It's a supply chain business.
Okay.
So you manufacture just in time, and the warehouse is something that's moving, and it should be always moving towards someone's house. And when you can get that perfectly is when you become the lowest cost operator. The minute you stick a warehouse in between, you've got inventory costs, warehousing costs. You just eliminate that altogether. That's the name of this business.
Clever, because the shipping takes some time, right, from Asia to the U.S. What is that like? How long does that take?
So the West Coast, about 25 days.
Okay, so nearly a month.
About a month. And if it goes to the East Coast, well, you can get there 2 different ways. You can either sail through the Panama Canal, or they call it a mini-land bridge, where you go to the West Coast and then it's on a train to the east. It's more expensive, but it's faster. So 45 days to the East Coast. 30 if you put it on MLB.
Okay.
Which is on train.
We're going to diverge a little bit here because you just reminded me of something, right? With this land bridge from California to New York. Reminds me of the plan that China has to try and make a canal or a land bridge through Thailand to kind of circumvent the Malacca Strait. Have you heard about that plan?
Yeah, I mean it's always spoken about, but it's a financially, not something that's easily done. But they keep talking about it.
Yeah.
It's an ambitious. I mean, I don't know if you know how the Panama Canal was built,
Sure.
but basically there's a lake in between, and they connected the lake to both sides.
And I know about the amount of people that died during it.
During building it,
Yeah.
both through disease and
Right.
yeah.
Mainly malaria, but I mean, there was at least 5,000 people that died, I think,
Oh,
right? Maybe more,
maybe
20,000.
more, yeah.
Could be up to 20,000. Teddy Roosevelt, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
Look it
but
up.
there is a there's gas pipelines going through Myanmar to China.
From where?
Oil and gas from Myanmar.
Oh, through the water.
No, through the land.
No, I know, but starting where?
Starting in Myanmar.
But Myanmar borders China.
Yeah, but on the ocean side of Myanmar in the Bay of Bengal.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying. So,
that-
starting in Bay of Bengal all the way into China.
So that's essentially, getting around shipping oil and gas.
Yeah, I mean, we can go this route if we want. I mean, I don't want to diverge too much because I want to ask you a bit more about your business first. So you're doing manufacturing in 5 different countries in the region.
Yes.
How do you navigate the different business environments and the different cultures? Because to me, that seems like that's the thing about ASEAN, right? It's not like Europe, or not like the States, right, where everything is under one federal law. I mean, there's different regulations, there's different regimes in each territory, right? How do you navigate that? And different cultures and different ways of doing business, right? I mean, you do business differently in Vietnam than you do in Singapore or than you do in China, right? So, I mean, you kind of have to be a bit of a bit of a chameleon.
Yes. They do. I mean, there are manufacturing cultures and business, etiquette, rules of engagement, if you will, or, how you do business with people does vary.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a skill.
It is,
That's a
it
skill.
is. I still remember some guy asking me if how do I do business in China and Vietnam, and do you speak Vietnamese? Do you speak Mandarin? Thai?
Right.
You speak U.S. dollars.
Uh-huh.
Everybody speaks U.S. dollars. I know I sound like Trump when I say that.
It's the reserve currency of the world.
It is, man. But when it comes to business, it's dollars and cents, right?
Yeah.
Literally dollars and cents. As soon as you start talking letters of credit in U.S. dollars, everybody understands you,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
It's that simple.
Word of advice for any of those international, people who want to be in international business. There you go, USD.
I mean, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but end of the day, you
still have it.
could speak all the languages. You can dress, appropriately. Know how to say cheers in multiple ways in many
Right.
languages, but you got to make business sense. Nobody wants to do business with somebody that doesn't understand business and that doesn't have any money.
But have you had any times where you've had to kind of take a step back? I mean, I've heard doing business in China is very difficult. You really have to be on your heels. You really have to be on your toes, because they'll just try and fuck you. You
Right.
know.
Look, I mean it's not just China.
Yeah.
That's anywhere,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I've been screwed over in India.
That's another place.
Yeah. So Malaysia,
Right. Everywhere.
everywhere. So you just have to put yourself in a position where they can't screw with you. So you need leverage.
Right.
So one of the best ways to get leverage is to be very important. So it's good to diversify your supply chain and not be dependent on one factory or one country. But I try to be important to one factory as opposed to being just another buyer from 25 factories.
Right.
So now all of a sudden they're calling you to make sure you're okay, right? Because they need your orders.
They need you more than you need them.
Yes. So there's a balance. I mean, you need each other, but
Yeah.
you've got to find a position where you at least need each other equally.
Right.
When they don't need you, you're in a bad spot.
Right. So if you're a small fish, don't try and get in bed into a giant ocean.
Yeah, try to be as, you got to maximize your relevance.
Play with your peers.
Yeah, I mean, one easy way is to somehow get terms from people, right? So, it's just like banks. If you owe them a lot of money, they won't let you buy.
Right. Right. Too big to fail.
You're too big to fail. So if you start owing these guys,
Do that with business.
yeah, then they don't want to see you fail. No, it's just a fact of life. It's just one of those things. But it's at the same time, being a small fish, it's impossible to get terms from people. They won't give you terms.
Right. Right.
So but you've got to somehow get there.
Okay.
Chicken and the egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great advice. I think that's good advice that people can really hold to. So you said something interesting recently, just now about Myanmar and the pipeline, right? Going from the Bay of Bengal to China. And you're also a writer. You've been writing opinion pieces for The Edge, and you just wrote a really interesting opinion piece, I think, about ASEAN and its current cultural stance, where it stands in terms of cohesion, in terms of how it's looked on by the rest of the world, what it means to the rest of the world, what it means to China. And something you said about this pipeline to Myanmar resonated with me and that article, right? Because Myanmar has a pipeline from the Bay of Bengal to China. Myanmar is currently in a civil war. And essentially large parts of northern Myanmar are run by the Chinese, right? Chinese criminals, perhaps, but also many of those countries in the north are dependent on China. I mean, I remember going to Cambodia, to Sihanoukville, and I mean, it essentially just looks like an outpost of Chinese manufacturing hubs. They create these special economic zones in Laos, and they're outsourcing to these countries that are on their border, but the border kind of becomes very loose.
Yeah, that's the. Not sure if you read the whole article.
I did.
Okay,
I did.
so I talk about Southeast Asia. It's beginning to splinter into two, distinct types of countries, and I call them the maritime ASEAN countries and the continental ASEAN countries. So the continental ASEAN countries are becoming very dependent on China. And dependency is a form of a leash, right? So when you're so dependent on one single power, it's very similar to what I said about dealing with vendors. That's a leash. So the continental ASEAN countries like Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, even Thailand to an extent, Vietnam. Are what I would call the continental ASEAN countries. They're being pulled in one direction, towards China, and very little choice. They don't really have a lot of choice. And the maritime countries that depend on trade routes and shipping lanes, have choice, and they're also torn between both. But ASEAN's got two different faces, and the ASEAN is supposed to bring them together and keep them together as one voice or position for 700 million people. But the splinter is very distinct, and I see that only widening unless they get this stuff together.
Yeah, I mean, I think China is so big and so powerful in the region that countries kind of have to fend off its power in a sense, or choose who do they make allegiances with. Are they making allegiance with China? Are they making allegiance with the United States and the West and their allies? Are they making allegiances are they playing both sides off of each other to see who they get the better deal from? Right? There's a big dynamic. There's a fluid dynamic.
The superpowers want you to choose. They don't want you to have a neutral position.
Right.
That's not good for them.
No.
So it's tough. It's not easy. I mean, Singapore does a really good job of managing both sides. They've got Chinese investments and they've got the largest U.S. Navy bases. And the Philippines more leaning towards the U.S., especially because it's being harassed by China in the seas. But I think, like Malaysia, I'd love for them to be neutral and diversify, you know, their portfolio, if you will, and just not be dependent on anyone.
Yeah, me too. But I've spoke about this before. You know, I think a lot of people on the internet say, you know, Anwar is kind of kowtowing to the United States, but that's not what I've seen. I've seen more rhetoric from Anwar leaning towards Chinese influence in the recent year or two than I've ever in the past. I mean, that article that was written in the Star about how great China is when the Chinese delegation came to visit China. To me, I've never seen them write something like that about the West. Ever seen something that powerful about the West. To me, and then Anwar went and visited Xi and had meetings with him during that period.
The Independence Day celebration.
The Independence Day celebrations. I haven't. I mean, I've never seen an article that positive about Western influence in Southeast Asia in the 15 or 16 years that I've been here. And to see, and when I read that, I couldn't believe it. It almost felt like it was written by Beijing's PR arm, you know? So,
Well, if it looks like a duck, then
yeah,
you know,
right.
it probably was.
Yeah,
The Star, man.
yeah,
MCA newspaper.
yeah.
What does the C stand for again?
Right. There you go.
So, but look, I think in Malaysia, the Malays, given the choice between China and America, they will choose China.
Because I think this was really interesting, right? How you split ASEAN up into basically two different power centers, really, and one being like the ASEAN archipelago, so to say, which you called Nusantara.
Yeah, it wasn't myself. It was coined by a journalist before me.
Okay.
But yeah, but essentially, it's all the maritime ASEAN countries that
And-
sit along the shipping channels.
And like 30% of the world's trade
That's
goes
right.
through those channels.
A third of the world's trade literally goes through those channels.
So from a strategic standpoint and from a global trade perspective, this is a very important strategic point on the globe.
Absolutely, massive.
And what do you? So we've identified this issue that China is holding massive influence in the countries that border its southern border. And how do we prevent? I mean, you know, from an American perspective, you would say, how do you prevent that from kind of reaching down further into Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Philippines, right? And I think so far those countries kind of have done a very good job.
I'm not sure I get it. Done a very good job.
In terms of not, because look, I mean, an example, right? Country Gardens was a massive project in Johor that was primarily driven by Chinese developers that was bringing in thousands and thousands of Chinese buyers to this real estate development, right? And I know that there are some concerns in the Malaysian political realm of losing some of its culture to China, and by having this infusion of Chinese businesses and Chinese, economic, so to say, influence on the country, and stemming that by, I guess, making, certain alliances with the West. I mean, Singapore has certainly done it with, for example, deferring taxes on American buyers of property in Singapore by having the U.S. Navy plot its ships there, right? But Malaysia has kind of played both sides, right? You had the Belt and Road Initiative kind of came through with the EC, with the rail line, the East Coast rail line. China bought a port up in Terengganu, if I'm not mistaken. And from what I understand, as soon as they bought that port, they immediately widened the roads going into that port. So to say, if there was some sort of a incursion or a World War III or anything, conflict in the region, they would essentially be able to co-opt that road as an airport runway and be able to land planes there.
Sure, yeah.
Right? So they did the same thing with India, though, because the biggest rival to China in the region is India. And they've essentially triangulated India by buying the ports in Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and they have border skirmishes. And obviously, they border India to the north.
Yep. No, very, very, very good observations. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, in order from this region to being completely controlled by China, I don't think that's one of their purposes. I don't think that's one of their tenets. But I mean, what do you think the direction of the region is going in?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of these poor countries like Sri Lanka, you know, that, the port, they defaulted on a loan.
Right.
It was not supposed to be China's port. China was not supposed to take over the port. But, they go and, corrupt politicians
But that's a debt trap. I mean, America did that for decades in Africa and
in different ways, right? These guys, the only difference is these guys are doing it without killing people. Physically with bombs and napalms and and guns.
But all right. To be fair to the United States, we didn't do that everywhere, right? We used these other medians like the World Bank and
or creating
U.S.
a coup,
aid,
funding the opposition.
right? Yeah,
Getting-
that was the second step. The first step is creating the debt trap. Second step is bringing in the CIA and creating a coup and a revolution, right?
Yeah, it's. I mean, look. In comparison, China is an absolute angel. If you were to compare foreign policies, I mean, they've got one base outside of China.
Yeah, from a military standpoint, correct.
The U.S. has
Hundreds. We have over 100.
over a few thousand.
Yeah.
I think there's 700 permanent ones, and then temporary ones. So they're, I mean, they're not going about dominating their region in completely disgusting ways. They take advantage of, corrupt countries. Sri Lanka built a port that they didn't need. They built an airport they didn't need. They still aren't using it. Borrowed money from China for all this. Reclaimed land. They didn't need to. That whole port city thing is an absolute joke. And then they're stuck. They can't pay back these loans. And they're bankrupt. And the moneylender comes back and starts making demands. And you default on it. You've already signed agreements. You pretty much know what's going to happen if you default.
Yeah.
So, it's not entirely their fault, but they do take advantage of weak economies and weak governments.
It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah. But going back to Southeast Asia being pulled in two different directions.
Yeah.
I think I've got a lot of it's probably the most read article that I've written for The Edge in a long, long time. I've been writing them for a long time. But I gotten a lot of comments on this because I think it resonated with people. People kind of woke up and said, "Hey, you know what? This is true. We've never looked at it that way." But ASEAN is clearly starting to split.
So what does that mean? What does that mean for the region?
Well, if you don't have tight allegiances regionally,
Right.
and economic, the unions and all your agreements, go out the door. You basically, it's like a school of fish. Just intimidate bigger fish, right? So we're not a big school of fish anymore. We're become smaller.
Does it mean, I mean, could it be something 10 years from now that where these northern tier ASEAN countries which border southern China, I would say except for Thailand, because Thailand hasn't really ever been, taken over by another country, right? And I'm not saying China's going to take over these countries, but essentially proxies for Chinese policy, the same way the US has proxies in the UN. And then could we see like a southern tier alliance between this archipelago of Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, and the Philippines? Could something like that form? Is that a possibility? Because they're not as directly tied to China.
They're not, but they're all sort of this push and pull effect. It's not a collective effort. It's all due to countries individually trying to save their own butts.
Right.
Right. So these countries that are what I call the maritime ASEAN countries.
Right.
Their choices are perhaps a little bit away from China. Because they think that's the best way to survive, or that's the best course of action going forward. I think they should really work on keeping ASEAN together tightly and closely, and have just honest discussions that aren't really happening. There's a lot of skeletons, and there are things that aren't being discussed, and they should first of all, come to an agreement that this economic union, is something that they really pledge to uphold and hold strong. So their foreign policies need to reflect that. Right?
It's an interesting dilemma.
Yeah,
Because-
I just don't think they're all, moving one direction or the other, collectively or in small groups.
Yeah, no, they're very much individualized, and the maritime countries that you say, they're all also feeling pressure from China, not from a land border, but from a sea border. I mean, even Malaysia off the coast of Sarawak and the Spratly Islands has felt a lot of pressure from China. Yes. And obviously the Philippines had with the Chinese, I don't know if they call it the Black Fleet or the secret fishing fleet, which is essentially like the National Guard. I mean, because China's got thousands of these ships around the world where they're fishing, but I think they can all be co-opted to essentially listen to whatever Beijing's directive is at any point. I know Indonesia's had some skirmishes with them in the past. I think they actually bombed one of these Chinese fishing boats because it kept fishing in one of their maritime national parks where it wasn't supposed to. They're even having problems with these in South America, off the coast of Ecuador, in the Galapagos, and the coast of Chile. They're having a problem with this with the Black Fleet. I think it's called the Black Fleet, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Is it called the Black Fleet, Fahad? The Chinese fishing vessels, that there's thousands of them around the world because China has a huge appetite for seafood.
Yeah, they do.
Right. So
over this Indian Ocean.
Right, but when it comes to Malaysia, true, the dark fleet.
Dark fleet.
But when it comes to Malaysia, that's primarily oil. We're talking about oil and gas, right? Off the Spratly Islands, off the coast of Sarawak. And so there's a lot of. It's a very fluid dynamic that we've got here in this region.
Man, it's very fluid. That's the word. I mean, if you asked anyone 5 years ago, it would well look like this right now.
Yeah.
Have
you? Well, where are your, if you don't mind, where are your factories in Cambodia and Vietnam? Are they in special economic zones?
They are. Yeah. In Cambodia, they're in economic zones. In Vietnam, industrial zones.
Okay.
Not economic zones.
But you're probably the minority when you're in those zones as compared to other Chinese companies, right?
So we OEM buy from factories, so we don't own the plants ourselves.
Okay.
So a lot of them are Chinese backed.
Right.
And a lot of the raw material does still come from China.
I mean, I read some of these articles where you started getting, so to say, gangsters, but we could say organized crime syndicates into some of these special economic zones, like in Cambodia, for example, Sihanoukville, where they had these casinos. And I was in Cambodia not too long ago, and I heard stories about how the crime was so rampant in some of these areas that the price of a Cambodian life was like nothing to some of these organized crime syndicates that were operating there.
Yeah, you're not allowed to donate more than 2 kidneys.
Right. Yeah. No, you cannot.
Yeah.
It's scary shit. I mean, I've seen some of these videos, man, like that. My friends who are connected to the dark web. I don't know if you've ever seen any of these videos, but I mean, of like organ farms up there. It's fucking horrific, man.
It's crazy, man.
In the middle of the jungle.
Did you hear that stat? That there's over 120,000 people still in captivity?
Yeah, like from human trafficking.
Yeah, they're all in these centers that do scam calls and.
Right, cyber slaves.
Like cyber slaves.
And Malaysians have been, unfortunately, victims of that.
Right.
And there is a case, which I talked about previously on this podcast, where the Malaysian PDRM actually coordinated with, I think, Cambodian authorities and went up there and saved some Malaysians from some of these cyber scam call centers. There's a very good movie, a Chinese movie actually, made about this called No More Bets.
Yeah.
Really good movie.
I've seen that.
Yeah. I thought, to me, that was probably my favorite Chinese film that I've seen. I thought it was very well made. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very well made film. And it had a powerful message.
It did. It got really popular, right?
Yeah. It was quite popular here in Malaysia. I think it brought in like 20
my wife
million.
made me watch it.
And it was good, right? And and we've never seen anything like it in the West because they're kind of isolated from that, you know. But I mean, they get scammed on social media,
Right.
but not to the extent where they get, you know, holed up in a hotel or an office building and they can't leave. Barbed wire fencing around it. Let's go a little bit more lighter. We've been getting a little dark here.
Yeah, man. Some positive stuff. Talk about food and booze and
Let's talk about your photography. I want to talk about like your photography. What is the most interesting subject or the most interesting place you've ever done like a photographic assignment?
oh man, people. I've photographed some very interesting people. Um, I've done to Dr. M.
Yeah.
I've done a whole shoot with Anwar, current Prime Minister.
Uh-huh.
Very interesting man. Spent almost half a day in a studio with him
Oh yeah.
before elections.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love taking portraits. So I've got a complete brown color para lighting system, and I love taking black and whites in medium format. So that's not places, but there's nothing like interacting with someone and capturing their spirit.
Right.
But places, I mean, I've traveled quite a bit, so I try to stay away from underwater photography. It's something I've consciously said I'm not going to get into.
Which kind?
Underwater.
Oh, underwater.
So I do dive quite a
Yeah.
fair bit, but I don't do underwater. But all over the world, like all over China, India, Sri Lanka,
I love your Sri Lankan photos.
Africa. I do a bit of wildlife as well, so
Yeah.
quite a bit in Africa, in Tanzania, Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
India, Sri Lanka.
Have you ever been on a safari in India or Sri Lanka?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I highly recommend it. In Sri Lanka, I mean, to see a leopard in Africa is very difficult. I mean, you have to be pretty lucky. But in Sri Lanka, there are safaris just for leopards.
Yeah, I've
So there's
heard.
two separate places, but Yala in the south it's phenomenal. I
Right.
think I saw like 7 leopards in 3 days.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I've been wanting to do that. Hit up either India or Sri Lanka to do a safari. I want to see blue whales. You can see blue whales in
Yes,
Sri Lanka.
I've done that as well.
You have?
Yeah,
Wow.
humpbacks, blue whales. I mean, a few different types of whales.
Uh-huh.
Sperm whales. You wouldn't think they'll come there, but apparently they come from the south,
Right.
and then they come up just to eat krill.
And it's a migration, right? It's
Yeah.
like they come for a season and they come back down.
But they kind of rotate. So there are 2 different parts of Sri Lanka, and they seem to be there all year round. Yeah. Unfortunately, one part, one place is right where there's the shipping lanes go through. So
Oh.
every now and then, I've been told you see a whale with marks that's been hit by a ship
Right.
because they swim pretty shallow.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sure,
yeah, you could go see them. I mean, there's you're a fit guy and you could do this in Trincomalee. Like
Yeah.
they take you out on a crazy speedboat,
Yeah.
and as soon as they see a sprout somewhere, they'll beeline to it,
Right.
and you need to jump off before the boat stops
Okay.
to be able to get a good look at
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be really fun.
Yeah, and you snorkel. They don't like bubbles, so you can't dive.
Right.
You don't have time to dive anyway. You won't have time to equalize and do all that. But they hang around. You could snorkel around them.
Wow.
It's incredible. I mean, blue whales,
Yeah, that would be. I mean, it's the biggest creature that's ever been on the face of the earth.
massive.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's a dream. I heard that what they do is they kind of like drive the boat in front of the projective path of the whale, so because they don't really stop, right?
Right.
And you kind of try and you get a.
If you're
glimpse.
there's 2 different ways of doing it. You go on these ferries that have a lot of people, and then that's not that much
That's
fun. I mean,
boring,
you're not gonna.
right?
That's boring.
Yeah.
But, you get on these speedboats. It's dangerous. There was a Malaysian naturalist who, I mean, he got really badly injured. He had to be airlifted from there.
No shit.
Because I mean, he basically whacked himself on
the
boat hull,
Oh.
and cracked his spine.
Oh God.
Yeah, he's okay now, but yeah, he really hurt himself.
Yeah. All right. We'll try to avoid that. So you've been in Malaysia since the 20th, since, 27 years, right? What is it that made you want to stay here? What do you love about it?
Oh man, when I first came here in '98, it was supposed to be a 6-month stint. Like, I was supposed to go back to grad school.
Uh-huh.
Both my parents are, done their grad school. Mom, as you know, is taught even at Stanford in the U.S. and stuff. Dad was, in the Ministry of Education in Sri Lanka. So they're very, pro-education.
Yeah.
So when they found out that I was not going to go past my undergrad, they flipped.
Uh-huh.
So it was a tough time. They definitely didn't want me to just, for them, an undergrad degree is like absolute basic, right? So
Yeah.
but I came here. It was '98, and I was living in Montreal. We just had this crazy ice storm.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you know what an ice storm is.
Of course, I'm from New York, man.
Yeah, man. So
You got ice
my
storm.
roommate's car got karate chopped into two by a branch.
Oh, geez.
You know how a little branch becomes like this big with
Yeah.
ice around it, right?
Uh-huh.
Everything starts looking like ice sculptures.
Yeah.
But just much bigger.
Yeah.
So this branch just, it gets too heavy for the tree.
Yep.
Phew, cut my roommate's car into two. I mean, power lines are falling over, power cables are getting too heavy for, the towers.
Yep.
It was crazy. There was power outages. People were dying because of the cold.
Oh, God.
And I was doing some work for this company in California. And the founder, owner, and I was one of the first employees. I used to work there part-time when I was in high school in California. And he says, well, I've got this job if you want it. You got to go to Malaysia and, we're setting up buying operations. You got to set up quality systems and manage, help us grow this business, man. But so.
And you're a young man at this point.
Yeah, I was
right?
young, and I was like, anything to get out of just looking out the window. I was like, man, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm in. So I looked at my car. It looked like an ice block.
Uh-huh.
You needed to chisel your way into it, right? And it was ridiculous. It was literally like 2 feet of ice.
Well, I've never seen. I mean,
Oh,
I've
it
seen
was-
ice like this, but
Oh, no.
geez.
I mean, it was literally that much ice, solid ice. I mean, that's what a real, there was a very severe ice storm. It was an ice storm of '98. You could look it up. It was nuts.
98.
We lived next to a military hospital.
Well, Montreal, you get all that lake effect snow coming off the lake, right?
Yeah, but this was crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
and it really hit Quebec really hard. Parts of upstate New York as well, but
Yeah,
Quebec
Buffalo.
was really hit hard. And we had electricity because we were right next to a hospital. A lot of people didn't have electricity.
Okay.
So we, our house became like a refugee center.
Wow. So it was an easy decision to come to Malaysia.
Oh yeah, no brainer.
All right. And then once you got here, what kept you here?
So I got here, and then I started realizing, this is a lot like where I was born, Sri Lanka, just a lot better. People aren't killing each other.
Right. At the time, right.
People aren't burning each other's homes, and but I just loved the diversity. It was just, to me, it was very easy. I felt more at home here than I did, anywhere else in the West. I just really liked it,
One of the things I felt here
The people,
when I first got here, I felt more free. Did you feel
Yeah.
that? Like that sense of like freedom? Like being out here on your own and you could just do, almost like you could do anything.
almost.
Almost. And now 27 years later,
Yeah. It went so quickly.
it goes by fast, right?
It's crazy, man. It's more than half my life.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, I find that time moves faster here because there's no seasons. It's like the eternal summer. And you remember in high school or junior high school, summertime, you look forward to it, and then it would go by, that 2 months would go by like this, right? And then the winters would go so long because it's cold and it's dreary and you're stuck inside and there's no leaves on the trees and there's no sun shining. It's like a cloud cover all the time, right? I mean, they even have that, I don't know the clinical term, but it's like winter depression syndrome, right? Where people get depressed during winter time.
Yeah.
So here,
That is a thing. I mean, there's a flock of people from New York that move to Florida just for that reason.
Yeah.
Because they get gloomy and
snowbirds.
Yeah.
My grandparents were one of them.
Well, I mean, there's old people that go down for
Yeah.
during the winter, but people get depressed.
Right.
And
And the further north you go, Montreal, I imagine it's even worse because it's colder.
it is.
And,
Air is a little cleaner.
right, right.
Air is a little cleaner. So the skies are, I would say, a little bit more clearer and bluer in Montreal. It's not that big a city. I mean, nothing like New York.
But you get here, and there's no winter. There's no seasons. So I feel that when you're in a 4-season region of the world, those seasons are like time markers. You can mark time easier, right? When it's fall, you can mark a memory as to, oh, it was fall. Or it was winter. Oh, remember that winter, the ice storm, right? Or springtime, when, like in New York, when it starts getting warm and the layers start to shed and people start wearing shorts and tank tops or whatever, right? But here, it's just all the time. It's always summer. And I feel that time goes by a lot quicker because there's less markers as to mark, what time of year it is. Because the New Year is the same time as July,
Yeah.
in a sense.
27 years, I still haven't figured out when the rainy season is.
Me neither. 16 years, I can't figure
You
it out
figured it
either.
out?
No.
Back when I was in the timber business, you'd always hear, timber supply shortage.
Right.
And they'll say, very difficult rainy season.
Right.
And it's perpetually rainy season.
You're like, when?
It doesn't end.
I mean, I have realized a few things, like Taras, for example, where you have some restaurants. I know the rainy season there is January, February, December, because I went there.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I went there once.
You don't want to be caught on one of those boats trying to cross.
We were in a plane and we couldn't land because
too windy.
it was so windy, and like my family was terrified because they took like 3 passes and the plane's going like this.
Yeah.
We had to turn around and land at Cotabaru, and we ended up going to Tanjung Jara instead. We took a van down because that was for like the New Year or something. So that I've realized the east coast of Malaysia, yeah, you can't go to the islands in January or February, really, for the most part. It's tough.
The seas are rough. The winds just kick up the waves.
Yeah.
So we run two restaurants there. It's been good fun. It's a challenge dealing with being on an island.
The logistics. I
The
imagine.
logistics.
Yeah.
Turnover.
But that's one of my favorite places in KL. I think that's got the best beach in Malaysia. That
It
beach
does.
is so beautiful.
As great as it sounds, right? Or it is when we go there. But imagine living there every day.
No, I couldn't live there.
Yeah, it's the most amazing beach.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever get a chance, anybody, I mean, the sand is white as can be, and the water is as blue as can be. The water is so crystal clear and so blue.
is.
And you've got these resident turtles that are there all the time, so your kids can go and swim with the
Well, it
turtles.
is.
You want some more?
Hit us up with a bit.
Yeah,
One last week.
Yeah, let's do it. You got it, buddy.
There's no point leaving that behind.
No. A little bit there. Is that enough? You want a little more?
Oh, that's good, man. I won't say no to that.
All right.
You know what they say about? I've just recently read this
What?
about keeping, whiskey in bottles after opening, so that less whiskey there is in the bottle,
Yeah.
there's more space for the alcohol to evaporate out.
Right.
So, the more you drink, the faster you should finish the bottle.
So drink it while you have it.
Well, no. So if you just had a few drinks, there's only that much, that much air,
Right.
space for alcohol to evaporate into.
Right.
So if you leave the bottle really like close to empty,
Yeah.
and you leave it for a long, long time, most of the alcohol evaporates into that space.
Huh.
So when your alcohol level drops below 38%,
Okay.
it starts to rot
Really?
because alcohol preserves it
Right.
up until then.
Right.
There's a reason why spirits are, 40% and above.
Right.
It's
Right.
duty-free reasons as well, but that came after the fact that they realized they need to keep it at that much at least for it to not spoil.
Okay, so anything above 40% doesn't spoil, but anything below goes bad. Like wine when it
38.
turns.
Wine would go bad
Quite
the
easily.
minute you open it,
Yeah.
right? And a whiskey cork is not sealed like wine.
Right. Right.
It's not non-porous like wine. It's right. So,
Interesting.
cheers.
Cheers.
That's why rum. It's hard to get a really old rum like you get whiskeys because the angel share every year is
I think this one is
Zapata.
23.
Yeah.
System is. But
Yeah,
you see,
that's-
but look what happened. Look, last
Yeah.
I tried to open it.
Yeah, so,
The cork
you should get yourself a decanter. But that rum is a bit of a scam.
Is it? All right,
Yeah.
enlighten me, please.
So Ron Zapata is not 23 years old.
Right.
That 23 has to do with how old their company is or something like that.
That's
it's got
bullshit.
it's got nothing to do with the age.
That is fucking bullshit.
It is. It is.
Oh, okay, good to know.
So
Because usually, that's why I wondered, because it's not that pricey. And then you'll see ones that are aged like 8 years, like Havana or whatever, right? And it's like same price or more. And I always wondered.
probably 8 years is a lot of time for rum.
Right.
Because in the Caribbean, it's really warm.
Yeah.
So when you're aging rum in a barrel,
Yeah.
your angel share every year is higher
Uh-huh.
than what you would have in Scotland where it's cold.
Right.
So every year you lose a certain percentage of alcohol.
Why don't we explain to the folks that are watching the angel share and the devil share?
I'm not familiar with the devil share.
Well, I think which one is the one that's absorbed by the barrel? That's the devil share.
Oh, is it?
The
Okay.
angel share is the one that's evaporated.
Evaporating. I did not know about the devil share. Sorry.
Oh yeah. So okay. So apparently the angel share is when the alcohol evaporates.
Evaporates, yeah.
And the devil share is
what sinks into the
the
barrel.
liquor that gets absorbed by the barrel
Oh, got it.
of the actual whatever it's aging in. Yeah. So whether it's rum or whiskey, yeah,
Or the people that work there.
yeah, that too. I'm sure that goes on.
Whoops. Shrinkage. They call it shrinkage.
Right.
Yeah, so the angel share is a lot more in the Caribbean. So after about 18 years, it gets there's not enough alcohol to keep it.
Really?
So that's why they've got to bottle it.
Wow.
That's why you don't find 50-year-old rums.
I was always curious about that.
And if you see a 30-year-old rum, you've got to be really curious. Like, it's suspicious.
Right.
You'd only find an independent bottler that bought a barrel sitting in some, rum distillery, a one-off thing.
Could you migrate that process to a colder region? and
I'm
then
not sure
do
how
it
it'll
that way?
affect the economics of it and how it'll affect it, but you technically could, or you could just chill the area that you're keeping it in.
Right.
But I do have a 25-year-old El Dorado rum from Guyana,
Okay.
and it's pretty legit, good stuff. 21, they make a lot of 21s. The 25 is quite rare,
Uh-huh.
a little pricey. But yeah, that's as old as I've seen rum. I've had a 28-year-old once.
Wow.
But then you go to Cuba, and then they've got a limitless supply of aged rum, which
Really?
raises an eyebrow because the regulations change from region to region, right? So in Scotland, if you put 18 on that bottle of Singleton 18, every last drop inside this is 18 years old, at
Right.
least 18 years old.
Right.
But in some places, they could just make up a law saying you could put a few drops of 18 and you can call it 18.
Right.
Like
Right. That's
the Pata just puts that 23 very quietly without saying anything about it. But it's not 23 years old.
That's it. Never buying a bottle of Zapatas again. Sold. I had a bunch.
Yeah,
Stupidly
it's a
thinking.
good rum. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's a bit of a scam.
Yeah, but I don't like that. That's bad business practice. That's why they've always said they never put the age of Blue Label on it, because and I asked a rep for Johnny Walker. He said, we have whiskey in there that's as old as 50 years old, apparently, but they also have some very young ones, which is why they can't put the age, because they have to put it as young as the youngest whiskey that's in there, right?
Some of them do that just as a sort of a novelty thing. So Macallan will release, has, I don't know if they'll still do it, but they've released these 8s
Okay.
in the past that aren't really, the entire thing's not 8 years old, there's just a few drops of 8 in it.
Oh,
Its average is probably closer to 25, 30.
really?
Yeah. I lost a bet once in Singapore. I ended up having to buy this guy a bottle.
Oh,
I tasted it blind, and he wanted me to guess the age. And, after a few drinks, you think you're a real expert, right? So I kept trying to guess it, and I said 25. He said no. I said 30. I go, younger or older? He goes, no, you're way too older. And I'm like, well, this can't be younger than 18. No chance.
right.
Right? Because it was just way better
Doesn't
than
make sense.
an 18 Macallan. And the guy, and then it said, what are you going to bet me? I said, I'll buy you another bottle. If this is younger than 18, I'll buy you another bottle.
Okay.
and he pulls out the bottle. It's 8.
That's an interesting trick. But now,
And I paid for the new bottle, man. I was not very happy. I tell you, this was many years ago. It was still like a couple of thousand Sing or something. It was stupid.
but speaking of, Chinese economics like we were before, right? The rumor was that the Chinese were buying up so much whiskey around the world that some of these Scottish distilleries couldn't keep up. So, and the Japanese distilleries couldn't keep up, so that it was really hard to find these aged whiskeys, right? And now a lot of it is blends. You're seeing more blends on the market. Is that true?
There are a lot more blends. There was a time, there is some truth to that. There was a time when a few distilleries actually doubled down, and a lot of them reduced production. This was in the 80s and 90s,
Okay.
where they predicted lower sales. So they didn't want to age their whiskey, so they didn't produce enough to age them, because it costs money to store and keep as well. Right? So, and this is why one of the reasons why the Japanese whiskeys are so expensive, the aged ones, because they also had a real slowdown in sales, so they didn't produce enough. So they don't have enough old stuff. So now the 21 Hibikis and stuff have just gone crazy in price, right?
Yes.
The Yamazaki 18s and all that,
Yep.
because they didn't produce enough then. So you can't make an 18 all of a sudden. You need to have aged it.
So it's kind of the perfect storm in terms of buyer demand increasing at an exponential rate, and the supply just wasn't there.
The blends, remember, they were created during the when they lifted the prohibition in the U.S.
Yeah.
Massive surge in demand, not enough whiskey.
We're talking about in like the 40s and the
in
30s and the
30s.
40s. Yeah, 30s.
So massive supply demand, but can't make enough, so they needed to make
blend. So that's where
with
blends were introduced.
grain liquor with the malts.
Right.
So as you know, the percentage of grain liquor and the percentage of malts is not revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So a better quality blend has less grain liquor.
Right.
A cheaper blend has more grain liquor.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Label almost has no grain liquor.
Right.
I think it still has a little bit. Yeah, the blends are just slippery slope. You don't really know what the hell you're getting.
Mm.
They don't have to tell you, but they have to tell you an age if they put the number.
If it's Scottish.
Yeah, if they put a number on, they have to tell you.
Does that cross borders to like Japanese law as well? Do you know?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say things.
Right. Yeah, no, don't say anything. If you don't know, don't say it.
Without knowing factually, but I know for a fact that they don't have the same laws as Scotland.
Right.
I know that they have to bottle it in a distillery to
Okay.
put the label on it.
Okay.
The malts can come from other countries or somewhere else.
Have
It's
you-
the same thing in Taiwan as well.
Have you ever invested in any whiskey or any alcohol? Because I know that's kind of like a little bit of a trend. Some people say it's a scam. You've got these guys selling barrels in Scotland of some obscure distillery, and you can buy it for 5,000 or 10,000, and then 10 years down the line you can bottle it. 20 years down the line you can bottle it. Have you ever done that?
No, and I won't do it either. Because, I always think, and they give you a sample.
Right.
Like if you want to buy a certain barrel, they'll send you a small bottle
Yeah.
for you to try. I'm no expert to know how that's going to age.
Right.
One, you're stuck with the whole barrel,
Yeah.
and it's not cheap. And remember, even a single malt from one distillery is not from one barrel.
Mm-hmm.
A single malt means it's distilled in one distillery.
Right.
They actually blend a bunch of barrels together. They just don't put any grain alcohol in it.
Mm.
But the blend, it's so many hundreds of barrels that they blend together to make a single malt.
Right.
It's not, it's a common misconception that people think it's from one barrel. A single barrel, single malt's from one barrel. But
Right.
a single malt is from one distillery,
Uh-huh.
and it could be from as many barrels as they want. So
Right.
what they're essentially doing is they're sort
They're
of
averaging it.
they're averaging it, or if something is not good, they won't use it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're stuck to one barrel, it's kind of like Russian roulette, right?
Right.
So it might be amazing, it might be mediocre, it might be crap.
Right. Right.
So you're stuck with it. So that reason, I just never really wanted to do it.
Mm.
It's a novelty. You can make anything sound good, right? Single barrel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah. And what wines though now? Wines, that's a totally other realm. I know you're pretty well versed in wines.
From the restaurants, you have to be
Yeah.
a little bit. And then I'm no master somm or anything, but yeah.
You have a favorite?
I love burgundies, but if I had choice, but I'll drink anything, man. I've, so some guy that taught me a lot about wine once told me that his favorite glass of wine is the one in the glass in front of him. There's no point talking about anything else.
Right, right.
So it's a way to appreciate each and every wine.
You ever watch that documentary about the guy who scammed everybody in the United States? The Indonesian, the guy name was Ronnie. What was it called?
Kurniawan.
Yes, Ronnie Kurniawan.
Ronnie, yeah, his last name is Kurniawan.
Right, and his first name was Ronnie, and he was taking these labels that were of extremely old vintages of wine and then putting them onto these cheaper bottles of wine. But he had such a good palate that he could somehow mix it to make it have a similar taste to that wine. And he made, hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of dollars.
Rudy Kurniawan.
Rudy
Kurniawan.
Rudy.
Yeah. Lived in Hong Kong.
What was the name of that film?
Sour grapes.
Sour Grapes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary what that guy did and how many people just ate off his hands, and how many people refused to say they bought wine from him.
Right.
Because imagine if you say you bought wines from this guy, your entire cellar is tainted,
Yeah.
right?
And the only reason he got caught is because he fucked around with the Koch brothers, who had connections to the FBI or somebody related to the Kochs. Right?
Well, they were on him for a long time. They're going to nail him. How they got him was actually quite funny. Right? So there is this winery domain in Burgundy. Name's not coming to me right now. It will. Anyway, he released a year that didn't exist.
Right.
So the owner called up the auction house and said, "Hey, how are you selling a wine that I never made?"
Right. I do. That was a Hong Kong auction house, was it?
I think it was in New York.
Okay.
It's a Burgundy.
I remember he was featured in the documentary.
Yeah, those are the guys that just first started using synthetic corks in Burgundy, which is like a new thing.
Okay.
What is the name? Oh, sorry, it's not coming to me.
Rudy Kurniawan. Come on, that's what we've got Fahad for. How he got caught.
It's that vineyard, man, I'll tell you. Which wine did Rudy Kurniawan replicate and get caught? Because it did not exist. Ponso. Domaine Ponso.
Domaine Ponso.
He created counterfeit bottles of Domaine Ponso, Clos Saint-Denis. So Clos Saint-Denis did not exist in 1945.
So that's how far back. See, this guy was creating a 1945 vintage.
Yeah,
I can imagine how much he was selling cases of that for.
He faked like wines owned by Winston Churchill.
George Washington, I think.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy, man.
Yeah, this guy had balls. He had brass balls. And the funny thing is, he scammed millions of dollars, and the punishment was very low because, not the FBI didn't really care about some rich guys getting scammed for a few $1,000s. Like it was almost a victimless crime. Almost. I mean, there was money. I mean, there are victims, but nobody was getting hurt or injured, and people's weren't going broke. So he got away with it for so long because they didn't take it that seriously until this vineyard and one of the Koch brothers.
What's more hilarious? So apparently, I've got a few friends in the wine business.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like a friend of mine in Hong Kong.
I think I met him.
Yeah, deals in mad crazy, especially Bergs. This Rudy Kurniawan's like he's met him, had dinner with him, had wine with him, and says this guy's incredible. He's got an amazing nose and he knows his shit. So but you talk about a 1945 Ponso, who's had it?
To even know that.
How are you going to say, no, that's not a 1945,
Right.
That's a 96,
Right.
Or that doesn't taste like a 45, I mean, how are you going to contest this guy?
Yeah, exactly.
And when he's so confident, and he goes and buys, I mean, he's not giving you complete duds. He's not putting in supermarket, cheap Shiraz.
You can't get away with that.
He's not doing that. He's buying Burgundies. He's buying some old Burgundies. And he's I mean, he's doing something really craftful, to be able to fool people.
It's interesting. It's almost like that Anna Delvey, that fake heiress in New York, right? She fooled all these people with her confidence and went to prison, got out of prison, got a TV show out of it, right? And people watched it on Netflix, sold rights to it, made a lot of money off the crime. Imagine if a guy like this went and bought a vineyard, I mean, that there could be some market there because he's got a good nose, but are people going to trust him? That's the thing.
Well, it's incredible what kind of company he keeps them.
Right.
A lot of these rich guys still love having him around.
Right.
It's like a novelty item. It's like, hanging out with the Kennedy assassin,
Right.
or something like that.
Right.
It's like a trophy.
Right.
I got Rudy Kurniawan,
I had a glass of wine with him.
having a glass of wine with Rudy Kurniawan.
Right.
Funny guy. He apparently takes back bottles from restaurants after consuming them. So he often uses bottles again.
Right.
That's how we did it apparently.
That's how he originally did it. He'd take the bottle, take the labels.
Well, no, he would print the labels, but the bottles mean a lot
Oh, okay.
because bottles are porous,
Yeah.
so they withhold a lot of tannins and aromas. So if you take a bottle of Romani Conti and put a same area but a much cheaper
Right.
wine in it. I don't go put a Chardonnay in it or something, but
Right.
or something else, but same wine, same area, and close it and let it sit for a while. It starts absorbing, because glass is very porous. It's not crystal.
So that's a devil share.
So there you go. That's the devil shit coming back. So he used those old bottles.
Oh.
I'm just look. It's not factual. I'm thinking why he did. Why would you use an old bottle?
Right.
Right. Because you can make a bottle.
But it makes sense. It would hold some
I
of
would
that
think it
flavor.
does, right? I would think it does, and I think that's one of the reasons why he wants the bottles. The labels you can't reuse.
No, but I heard labels sell for a decent amount. Like if you have
If
a
you have
label
it
of
in
like a
good condition.
65 Petrus or something.
If you have a good condition one. Oh, okay, a whole bottle. I think Petrus bottles are like $200-300 US.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Right, whole bottles. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, you get that in China a lot. In the middle of nowhere, some industrial zone.
Right.
This factory that only services people that go to the factory, a hotel.
Yeah.
They'll have all this cheap wine, and then all of a sudden there's Petrus
Yeah.
and Mouton 82.
Yeah, I've seen
Always
that
82.
in like the Laos airport. You've got like Lynch Bage.
Yeah.
And there's like 100 bottles. I'm like, no way.
Yeah, and you're gonna keep Lynch Bage standing upright in that hot weather.
Right. No
Yeah,
way.
I don't think so.
Yeah. But that's happened here, right? I mean, that's happened here with and as a restaurant owner, you probably have to make sure that you're buying from reputable suppliers because there are guys out there who are, you go to some of these nightclubs, right? They're selling fake whiskey.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
People died in Laos recently.
I've seen Indonesia as well, in Sumatra. People have died because of tainted alcohol.
It is a very slippery slope and very dangerous. Yeah, I would. We make sure we only buy from reliable sources, and even then we've been had. We had one incident where the authorized distributor for Diageo delivered us a case of Johnny Walker Gold Label, and they were fake. And so we dug into it, and since then they started putting this seal in their lorries. So every time they open it, they need to write the seal number.
Right.
Because what was happening is the delivery guys would swap it.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. They used to do that with beef and stuff. When you pick it up from the factory or the major warehouse, they seal the actual opening of the lorry, like the outside of the lorry, right? So that it cannot be opened until it gets to the actual buyer. Is that right?
Right.
Something like that? Yeah. Okay. Wow. How did you find out it was fake? Just from drinking it?
I suspected it was fake. It felt too caramellish. It was too sweet, and it was just different.
Yeah.
And look, I'm no expert, but what we did was we just took a bottle that we had from before, and just put it side by side, and you could right away tell. It was a good fake. It wasn't colored water or anything. It was
Right.
but it was fake, and the packaging looked almost identical. You couldn't tell the difference from the packaging.
Yeah. Yeah, got to be careful. I remember a few years ago they found like a Johnny Walker Black fake factory in a house somewhere where people were building these Johnny Walker Black bottles. They were selling it like maybe 10 years ago or something, 8-9 years ago. I saw a video of that going around.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. The fake alcohol industry is massive. Somebody told me that there are 40 levels of fake Johnny Walker Black in India.
Jeez.
They'll even tell you this is a good fake. This is a really good quality fake.
How do you determine if it's like a level 3 versus level 36?
I thought about that for a while. I think maybe what they do is actually take the Johnny Walker Black and then top it up with some cheaper whiskey,
Right.
right? And the better the fake is, the more black label it really has inside.
Right.
I don't know.
Certain part of the bottle, they have measurements.
If you think about it, right? If you had a bottling operation and you bought in bulk, you just added 10% water.
Right.
You created 10% more stuff.
Hey man, I used to do that as a kid. When I raided my mother's liquor cabinet, we'd fill everything back up with a little bit of water. And what we would do is, kids don't watch this podcast, so we'd take a little bit of alcohol from every bottle that she had, and we'd make our own concoction, and then we refill those with a little bit of water so that we wouldn't get caught. When you're 14, 15 years old,
Oh, wow.
this is what you do.
You started early, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that caused for some messy nights for some of my friends. I remember cleaning up vomit because you've got like...
Just realize that tequila, rum, and vodka don't go that well together.
Right. Lesson learned. Lesson. That's
What was your first drink?
I don't really remember. I remember trying beer at a really young age and not liking it. But that might have been a parent or an adult giving it to me. But I think my first time properly getting drunk was, stealing from my parents' liquor cabinet with my friends. And all of us just drinking and mixing it with orange juice or something, and just people vomiting the next day at 12 years old, 13 years old, something like that. I remember my first cigarette. I was young. I was 8, second grade. My father was smoking a cigarette, and he was walking in front of me, and he dropped the cigarette on the ground. And as he kept walking, I picked it up, and I took a couple puffs, and I put it back. That's my first cigarette. I remember that clearly. Alcohol, not so much. Yeah. I remember going back to school and telling my friend about it, thinking I was really cool. 8 years old or something, 7 years old.
Man, that is young.
Yeah,
For
I
a
was a
cigarette.
bit of a rebel. I mean, we can, off camera, we can talk about some other things too. I did a lot of things really young.
Well, New York. You grew up in New York, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
you can get into a lot of trouble there.
Yeah. First time I smoked weed, I was 12.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's I think you got to go and I got to go too.
Yeah, do an edit, and if you think you want to shoot some more again, let me know, man. Because
Bro,
it's
you
my
can-
first time. I'm not.
You can always come back.
Yeah,
You can
I'm
always come back.
not. I'm not a. I'll bring the cigars and whiskey next time.
We just did 2 hours. We can edit that down to whatever, an hour 15, an hour 20, that's fine. And then you can always come back and we just be a hang. Next time you write another article, I write an article, There's no rhyme or reason to it.
But you would edit this to a few minutes, I would imagine, like not.
At most, probably we got a good an hour and a half. So it should be good.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll do an hour and a half full pod, right, on YouTube. And then we break that down into short clips that go on Instagram and stuff like that. That's where most people see it. So there'll be like an hour, like a minute and a half clip or a 2-minute clip. We'll have like 7 of those. Like we'll take the best ones out of those and we'll put those into Instagram
And you'll get
and TikTok.
You'll get the first draft to see everything, whatever you want cut out. Just let us know and we'll cut it out.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Did you get that on Taobao or something?
Yeah.
Did you? I was gonna say that's cool, but I'm trying to think where you got it.
I think I got it on either Temu or Lazada, one of those two.
Cool.
Okay, famous.
I don't have Taobao.
It's more an American thing, but no more, because Trump got rid of that under $800 shipment thing.
This is that old school, Tartaria.
Yeah. Yeah, Australia's.
Yeah. New Holland, they call it.
was drawn up from basically maritime people that only saw from the sea.
Yep. Look at they called it Negritia. I'm gonna change this out at some point, but right now it's kind of like
It's cool. It's
been
you got to
like a
keep it
brand.
consistent. You got to keep it consistent.
Yeah. No, one of the problems is though is that like my face and my hair gets washed out because I'm almost like the same tone as the backdrop. So but if I sit in that chair, I stand out really nicely, because it's got that dark blue black.
But you want some consistency with this.
Exactly.
That's important.
And it hasn't been a year. We just started this end of January, and like 3-4 months ago, we were struggling to get.
Who else have you had?
Oh, I've had
Anybody I know?
anybody John Langan. I had him. I had I had a couple of famous directors and actresses. I had a guy Adrian Tay. He's Vincent Tan invests in all of his movies. He's a famous Malaysian director.
A chubby Chinese guy?
No, he's not chubby. He's fit Chinese guy.
Adrian Tate. Okay. Hello, guy.
I just had this other Malay director on, Gaz Abu Bakar, who's he directed my film that's being released tonight. I had Sarima Ibrahim, you know her. She's one of Nagari Sembilan's royalty's wife. She's also like a famous celebrity. She did like a children's show, kind of like a Mr. Rogers kind of a show for kids growing up in like the late 90s and stuff.
Rajesh.
Who?
Rajesh. Ramesh Rajendran.
Oh, Ramesh Rajendran. He owns High Central, the men's clinic in BSC. He's also got one in Singapore. Yeah, that guy's a breathwork teacher.
Nice.
Yeah, a bunch of different people from different walks of life. I've got a couple of startup founders on. This guy Ben Bagg, he's done a couple of startups. Kevin Brocklin, my friend, he owns a
Francois Benzil.
VC firm. You know Francois, the golf instructor, the South African dude, really tall.
Yeah.
Had Francois on.
He's
talking.
my wife's.
Yeah. He's her. Yeah, I had him on. I play golf with him every now and then.
Oh, he's a good golfer, man.
Dude, he bombs.
He
the
hits a
fucking
ball a mile.
man.
Scary.
I played with him at RSGC. Hit the ball over the road like 340 yards. He fucking bombs it. And he's a good guy too. Fun guy. Nice guy.
Loves his cricket.
Yeah.
So I got him out whenever some cricketers come out, I call him out and he loves it.
Yeah. He loves cricket. He loves rugby. I want to get my son into cricket because my son loves baseball and he's actually pretty good at it. Orion. He can hit a ball.
How old is he?
7. I was thinking
R-
about maybe
RC?
getting him into cricket because it's the closest thing we can do to baseball here.
Yeah, so RC, Royal Sound Club.
Yeah.
I can put you in touch with a coach there and
Yeah,
as a
maybe.
junior member or something, and it's peanuts there.
Yeah. I think we might even be members there. I think Abby might be a member there.
Just want to give one to closing for this episode. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. All right. I'll do a quick closing. Okay. Abby, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Anytime. Hey, thanks for the smoke and whiskey.
Hey, appreciate anytime. Yeah, we'll do it again for sure.
For sure. I'll bring the whiskeys and the cigars.
Yeah. Well, you've got a better stock than I do.
No.
Thanks again. Seriously.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Thanks
All right.
for
That's
having
it, folks. We're out.